Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to introduce you to my song Hydroxychloroquine and analyze the lyrics I wrote. They are full of lessons and above all they will help us remember this terrible period in our recent history. As my interview with Reynald Sicher from Genocide to Memoricide last week showed, it is essential to remember important events. Why? Because our tormentors do everything they can to rewrite history and as quickly as possible after their misdeeds. You may have noticed that all the COVIDists, that is, all those who still believe in the benevolence of the health measures, want to forget this story as quickly as possible. When we are ashamed of an action, that is often our first reaction. If you ask convinced vaccine recipients, they'll tell you, no, vaccination was never mandatory, and all the organizations that took part in this attempted genocide are rewriting history. So I wrote the lyrics for this song, and I used software to compose the music and create the voice. This song is available on all music platforms like Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, etc. Let's listen to the first.
They locked the gates in 2020, pushed their shots, said cures ain't plenty. Hydroxychloroquine they hid away. Big pharma's lies led us astray. They silenced truth, they spread the fear, told us no hope, no cure is near. But heroes rose, their voices strong, the truth kept marching all along.
In France, on March 16th, 2020, lockdown was declared and everyone had to stay at home. To go out, we had to write our own permission slip and state the reason for going out, otherwise we risked a €135 fine. And if it happened more than 3 times, the fine could go up to €3,750. Can you imagine €3,750? Even though, in fact, the French Constitution guarantees freedom of movement. To be able to manipulate people, you have to make them do stupid things and give them contradictory information. So our lives were put under strain, that is, distorted by twisted directives. It was forbidden to sit on a public bench or on a beach, for example. Masks were mandatory in restaurants when you were standing, but not when you were sitting. So hydroxychloroquine is a synthetic antimalarial derived from chloroquine, which is marketed under the name Placanil. On January 13, 2020, it was added to the list of poisonous substances at the suggestion of the National Agency for the Safety of Medicines at the end of 2019, under the ministry of Agnès Buzyn. In February 2020, there was concrete talk of a vaccine, with rollout scheduled for the end of November 2020, less than 10 months later. And for a vaccine to be launched, there must be no available cure for the disease in question. Coincidentally, hydroxychloroquine had been ruled out. And we all remember too well the study published in The Lancet on May 22, 2020, which claimed that hydroxychloroquine was dangerous and increased the risk of death. This is the biggest scandal in the recent history of scientific research. Hydroxychloroquine was banned. Among other things, the study showed that the number of deaths attributed to hydroxychloroquine in Australia was higher than the total official number of COVID deaths in the entire country. So it was impossible. Thus, on June 4, 2020, just 2 weeks later, the study was retracted. But the intended effect had been achieved, no more remedy, and the vaccine could be imposed on everyone. And so, the crime was almost perfect. Big Pharma could laugh about it. Hydroxychloroquine generated no additional revenue, but on the other hand, vaccines were a goldmine. In 2022, Pfizer became the first pharmaceutical company in history to surpass $100 billion in annual revenue. They spread fear. Everywhere the number of deaths was announced every evening on television, knowing that every day on average 1,700 people die in France. Can you imagine if we kept announcing all those deaths, and attributed them all to the same cause? We would be afraid. And then Dr. Luc Montagnier appeared on April 17, 2020 on CNews and declared that this pandemic was not natural, that it had been provoked. In May 2021, he stated that it was vaccination that created the variants. Professor Didier Raoult began to speak out from the very beginning in February 2020 and on March 9, 2020. On LCI, he said that the coronavirus would not cause more deaths than scooter accidents. But people thought he was crazy. So was he really wrong? During 2020, there were officially recorded approximately 64,000 deaths due to the COVID pandemic. So he was mistaken. The average age of these 64,000 deaths was 81 years old. Life expectancy at that time was 82 years. You see the problem? In fact, people died as they usually do. So Didier Roule was right. There weren't more deaths from COVID than from scooter accidents. Now, let's listen to the pre-chorus of the song.
They took a stand. McCullough prepared, defied the plan. Djokovic fought, they called him wrong. But we're awake, we'll right the wrong.
We're talking about Dr. Peter McCullough in the United States, a renowned cardiologist who broke the conspiracy by publishing in August 2020 an article that denounced the authorities' measures which told patients to stay home with Tylenol and wait for their condition to worsen. He recommended a remedy based on hydroxychloroquine. And he is now showing in the United States that there really was a plot to kill people and get rich. This reminds us of the Vendée, where the revolutionaries of the Republic wanted the deaths of the Vendéens to bring money to the state. And when you stop to truly think about the fact that absolutely everyone paid for these vaccines, you realize the tragic irony that the dead essentially paid for their own unfortunate deaths, and in doing so, they significantly enriched the massive pharmaceutical companies, and not just those specific corporations, but many others involved in the process as well. Can you believe it? This happened right before our eyes, and too many people still deny it. Jean-Jacques Krefker was, for me, a reassuring figure who explained every Monday the manipulations that all the states were carrying out together. Novak Djokovic was a role model for everyone who opposed the vaccine, since he was detained in Australia because he wasn't vaccinated and couldn't participate in the Australian Open. As a result, he lost his world #1 ranking. But as soon as he was able to compete again, he won the Australian Open, Roland Garros, and the US Open in 2023. And above all, he defied their system by standing up to world governments. In 2022, during the ban, Rafael Nadal won one more title than Djoko, but in 2023, Nadal did not win anything while Djoko won 3 titles. Nadal got vaccinated. At the time of Djokovic's expulsion from Australia, Nadal said, he made his own decisions, everyone is free to make their own decisions, but then there are consequences. And yes, we saw that. We saw who made the right choice. It's an extremely good lesson for everyone. This should wake us up, make us stand up and step off their stage. We remember this strong statement from Djoko. The principle of making decisions about my own body is more important than any title or anything else. I try to be in harmony with my body as much as possible. He didn't want to introduce a poison into his body. Mercury is used in many vaccines. It's called thimerosal and it's about to be banned in the United States. Aluminum is also used in many other vaccines. And finally, graphene is used in COVID vaccines. This has been certified by a bailiff and several independent laboratories have confirmed it. Yes, as usual, the pro-vaxxers will tell you no because it's not listed on the product sheet. Do you trust these pharmaceutical companies? So, what is the effect of graphene in the body? Since graphene is much harder than steel and extremely thin, it cuts and pierces cell membranes, where it promotes clot formation. When it's in the blood, it becomes neurotoxic if it manages to reach the brain. It remains in the body for a long time and can take months to be eliminated. This, of course, makes me think of long COVID. Graphene is a relatively new material and is used in many areas. In batteries, electronic circuits, lubricants, coatings, and of course in medical products. Why is it used in these latter products? Because it is possible to create graphene transistors smaller than 100 nanometers that can be remotely controlled by 26 gigahertz waves. IBM filed a patent on this in 2010. So do you know what the next 5G or 6G frequency to be installed is? 26 gigahertz. Do you still believe in coincidence? I don't. All these substances are poisons. This is a real war. As Macron said in 2020, it's a war not against a virus, but against the people. Well, he didn't say it was against the people, he said it was against a virus. And that's my conclusion. It wasn't against a virus, but against us, against the people. But like Djoko, we stand tall, we are growing in number, and in the end, humanity will turn things around. Let's listen to the
Rise up, Rise up, we're breaking free. No more poison in humanity. Hydroxychloroquine, they try to hide, but we're awake, we'll turn the tide. No more mercury, no graphene chains, no aluminum in our veins. The war's on us, but we'll stand tall. Humanity's rising, we'll win it all.
It is extremely difficult to get hydroxychloroquine. Recently, I tried to get a prescription from an unvaccinated doctor who opposed this whole health dictatorship. He didn't want to prescribe it to me because he is required to indicate a reason, like if I had scabies, for example. So hydroxy has been banned. The truth comes out thanks to the whistleblower. We also think of Robert Jr. Kennedy, who was fighting against Big Pharma in the United States. The truth comes out. Can you imagine? Not a single vaccine is tested against a placebo. Vaccinated people get sick much more often than the unvaccinated. This perverse system must be reversed. And here are the lyrics of the...
For years they schemed, their toxins spread. Mercury, aluminum, in our blood they fed. Graphene shadow, a silent crime. They called us cattle, but it's our time. Whistleblowers paid a heavy cost, entered jail, but truth's not lost. We're waking up, our spirits soar, no longer slaves, we'll fight this war.
Yes, vaccines have been forcibly administered for centuries, even though they are poisons. I recommend everyone read the book Vaccination, The Great Disillusionment. Among other things, we learned that in the United States, on April 11, 1901, at the American Tobacco Company factory, 350 employees, all women, refused to be vaccinated by doctors sent by the health authorities. They tried to leave on their own, but found the exits locked. The police had been called, and the women were forcibly vaccinated. Some of them fought back. Others screamed as they struggled and kicked, but all of them were vaccinated. How horrifying. Throughout history, humans have been treated like livestock. How many times have totalitarian regimes called people animals in order to justify killing them? It's a recurring pattern, and even now Palestinians have been given the same label. It almost happened in France. Fortunately, there were whistleblowers and weekly protests to prevent it. It's true that whistleblowers pay a very high price. I'm thinking in particular of Rainer Fulmich, who has been in prison for nearly 2 years. He's a lawyer who won a major battle. It was the Dieselgate case in the United States. He has been in prison for nearly 2 years and has endured appalling treatment. Strict isolation, deprived of sunlight, fresh air, and sleep. All of this just for having created a tribunal to condemn the crimes of COVID genocide. Yes, their courage, like a fire, will burn even in hell. And thanks to them, our souls have awakened and together as one. We are fighting against these tyrants. We are all connecting together and fighting all these liars by daring to speak the truth. Let's listen to the end of the song.
They try to break us, keep us blind, control our bodies, chain our minds, but we're connected, our conscience strong, the powerful, we'll prove them wrong. We're powerful, so powerful. Their lies will crumble.
Then yes, we are powerful. I can even say that we are very powerful. In any case, much more than we imagine. All the organizations we've been in or are still in have programmed us, and by repeating to us that we are mere sinners, imperfect people, slaves, employees, civil servants, state agents, the submissive, the obedient, specks of dust, that if we disappear, no one will notice. We are nothing. But our soul or our spirit endures even if our body disappears. And if we have come into a body, it is to fulfill a mission. It is up to us to find that mission. But for that, we must wake up, remain standing in the face of tyrants, bullies, mockers, torturers, or simply the sheep bleating all around us. And this is where all the experience we have lived through will serve us. If, for example, we have been very active in a totalitarian organization, we know what we're talking about. We can therefore fight with strength. Power lies in staying on your feet, in saying no, in standing firm in front of a crowd. The best way to manipulate someone is to throw them into a crowd. Thank you. and you can be almost certain that they will follow the crowd. This is why totalitarian governments force children to go to school very early. At school, children are raised like cattle. They must submit, obey, and accept mistreatment. Then, when they become adults, they are docile and obedient. That's what I wanted to say about the lyrics of my song. Maybe you didn't see all of this at first glance. So I hope I've made you want to listen to it. If you want to help me spread it, listen to it on your favorite music platform, Spotify, Deezer, Apple, or any other. Download it, like it. You can also listen to it on YouTube Music by searching for the title Hydroxychloroquine under the ESA label, which is my music label. Feel free to download it. You can include it in your productions, for example in your YouTube videos. There are no copyright restrictions. This song exists in 8 languages, with variations in style. Most of them are rap, but the English version is pop, hip-hop. The Italian, Romanian, and Polish versions are in pop. And I've included all the links in the description so you can access them to these songs on the most well-known music platforms. I am convinced that music is a very powerful medium for conveying ideas, and we have a lot to fight against this tide of lies. But the war is here. Let's stand tall. Humanity is rising. We're going to change everything. See you soon for more updates.
They stole our breath, they stole the open